Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ascension Wars. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dominions 4, a 7-player free-for-all multiplayer campaign, and I am the under-mountain troll-type creature things known as Agartha. And it is early summer in the year 2 of the Ascension Wars. This is turn number 15. A messenger has arrived from man. Greetings, earthen neighbor. Though you are no longer part of the Council of the Living, rest assured we take heed of your words and warnings regarding Valheim. He has tried to deceive us twice in the past with small deceptions, and so we look westward, even though we are not in a position to act. If his deceptions prove to be monstrous, then we will rethink our position. We honor our agreement with you, the Knights of the Grail. We have researched Conjuration, and we're starting now to research enchantment. So we have the Enliven Sentinel spell, which we're looking for. Fafnir, who I believe is Valheim, has claimed the Throne of Water. There was a battle in Tiosh. This is down in the swamps near Valheim. This is Birdie Bot's army, it looks like. And, yeah. I'm not expecting this is going to be very difficult, but we'll have to see my troops kind of tear through some light infantry and militias. Looks like the troglodytes are getting the jump on everyone. If there's no ranged troops and there's just kind of small units, troglodytes are actually very useful, but they're situational. We did not lose anything, though. An unexpected event has occurred in Agartha. A peddler was peddling his wares. Well, that's what peddlers do in the province when one of your agents discovered a few magic gems of various types among his glass pearls and buttons. They were swiftly and forcefully bought at the price God intended. You know, I'm not down with this. We're good guys. We'll pay this guy fair wages for his gems. I mean, that's not how I do. Anyway, and we lost Putin, the snake charmer, but that's okay. Again, we only hired him for one turn, so that he can use his troops as cannon fodder. So, the situation. If you're watching this all back-to-back, this won't seem interesting to you, but since it's been about 2 weeks since the last one, let me just catch everyone up. We are currently bordering Shinuyama over here. We are bordering Daz, Man, over here. We are bordering Ermor to the north. Shinuyama is currently trying to fight Ermor. They've made great inroads into Ermor's territory, but now seem to be getting beaten back. Asphodel is up here, but currently I have no visual connection with him. And Valheim has pretty much everything else in the entire map. And Ulm is down here. Notice, however, that Ulm has lost a province next to their capital known as Might Marsh. And he lost it to knights and militias. Ulm's an interesting situation that we're going to get back to later. But essentially, now that we've taken Tiosh, I'm moving my troops with Birdie Bot up back to Nidian range, and we're going to try to take this throne here in Chalad. That's our main goal. Meanwhile, over here, I have Lighthawk, who's going to be taking on Obelshin, which is the last neutral province up here, and it's also a farmland province, so very good for us. At home in Agartha, now that I have Sentinels, I'm having Lothar and Childeric summoning Sentinels, while Anselm is entering our magical site so that we can see some visual information from somewhere in the world. It's been so long now, I'm not sure exactly where I was looking. I have this scout here in Temiglia because it's neutral. I like to park my scouts in whatever remaining neutral territories there are, just to get an idea of what the borders look like there. But you can see Asphodel is here, Man is here, Valheim, of course, is here, and Shinuyama is here. So this is an area where perhaps there will be some wars in the future between all those powers. Nowhere near me. Actually, I didn't want to do that. Oops. Oh well, we'll try turn 16. Alright. So, I cast 2 Enliven Sentinels. John Muir, my nature mage, has searched Trollland for magic sites, but found none. And Obelshin. This is the province that we had before, but was taken over by independents. We're attacking with Lighthawk. He's got some Boulder Hurlers, a bunch of Shard Guard, and 1 Attentive Statue. Now, the plan here was to have the Attentive Statue string out the enemy troops, and then head back to guard Lighthawk. It didn't quite work because the cavalry got the jump on him. But, whatever. We were able to rout the cavalry. and the armies of the Independents. And all we lost was the one attentive statue. Now, this was not a sentinel, of course, so it was not sacred. It was just a little gimmick I was trying. Didn't really work. In Rivia, where Geralt is from, there was a battle between Asphodel and Shiniyama. Let's take a look at that, just to see what kind of forces they bring to bear. So Shiniyama's got a Centaur Hierophant, which seemed pretty weak to me. I mean, they only have one death. However, they are sacred, and they do have recuperation and morale boosting. He also has a Carrion Centaur, which doesn't have any kind of magic, but is undead, is holy, regenerates, is amphibious, pierce resistant, poison resistant, is a magical being, lifeless, needs not eat, has 4 survival, also has recuperation, dark vision, death weapons, which must be a bless. It won't tell me. Oh, here we go. Morale +1, Undying +10, Death Weapons, HP +8, and Regeneration. So he has a high Nature and a high Death. Bless. Which is weird, because your average Asphodelian troops are not sacred. He also has a giant Carrion Beast, which looks quite magnificent, and Urist McHorny, his prophet, who also has Death Weapons, of course. Recuperation as well. And is a Berserker who tramples. Yeah, that's typical Minotaur stuff. Shinuyama had something. Not sure what, but Shinuyama lost. And in Agartha, our Earth Reader was wounded. Oh my gosh, something went wrong in the Arcane Laboratory. That's no good. Alright, so what's happening? Oh, Chilad. Okay, so I was scoping out the throne just to be 100% sure I could take it. I decided I was, so I'm moving Birdiebot in there, while Tricky Dick, my scout, is heading south into Might Marsh. Meanwhile, I noticed that Juek, which belonged to Vanheim, was captured by knights, but Vanheim and I were in communication, and I didn't want hostilities with him, he didn't want hostilities with me, so I'm like, you know, I'm not going to touch it, it's yours, go ahead and reclaim it whenever you can. And he was like, well, if you want, you can reclaim it, and then I can take it back later. But I was like, I don't really need it, in the short run, I mean. So, never mind it. Meanwhile, okay, so here's a little bit of diplomacy that happened off the scenes here. I took Obelshine, and I basically told Vanheim, alright Vanheim, you've been asking for help with Ermor. Well, he wasn't asking for help with Ermor, but essentially, you know, he was complaining that he was the only one really going against Ermor. So I said, alright, I'll tell you what, I will help you, but right now the problem is I can't get to Ermor, and Oak Halls, your province, is in the way. So I said, if you let me kind of go through Oak Halls to attack Ermor in the Mountains of Madness, I will not fortify or defend Oak Halls in any way, and you can take it back right the next turn. And he agreed to that. So, even though it appears like I'm attacking Vanheim, I am in reality not. And Essus is building a fortress here. 4 months remaining. And at home, we are summoning a lot more sentinels. Well, not a lot more, actually. We're only summoning the same amount of sentinels. And Anselm is entering the site once again. We are recruiting Shard Guard, Defenders, and 1 Agarthan Infantry. And if you want to see what a sentinel is, it's this guy. Basically, an Agarthan statue that is sacred, poor amphibian, slash, and pierce, and poison resistant. It never heals, however. That's why regeneration is so good for these guys, because they will heal through regeneration. And it has a patrol bonus, which I haven't actually been using them for, but whatever. And these are our regular attentive human statues, which do also have a patrol bonus. I guess I could be using them for patrolling. I have other problems, I guess, really. And then here in Bethany, I have Hintal, who is building a fortress, which is almost done. 1 month remaining. And Quellan is just patrolling with troops to make sure no scouts or anything get through. That's really that. So we're going to quit without saving and go to turn 17. Alright, I've researched Conjuration. We have 2 more Enliven Sentinels. Pawns finally found some magical sites, a Cavern of Glowing Moss and a Gorge. There was a battle in Oak Halls, of course, us versus Vanheim. He doesn't defend it, so nothing happens there. And then we attempt our attack on the throne of Chilad. Same setup you normally see, nothing fancy. Interestingly, they have a lot of blood slaves and conjurers and death people, so they're sending skeletons out at us. Their human troops don't last very long. But of course, their undead troops have unlimited morale. Luckily, Birdiebot is banishing them, so she's doing pretty well there. Our troglodytes make it to the back line, but are defeated by the skeletons there. So we just keep banishing. And our sacred troops just keep plowing along. They can't do enough damage to us to offset the regeneration. And the win is ours. We lose 6 troglodyte slaves, but all of our shard guard, with their regeneration, survive. Jebero, we got some water gems. And Bithyni Fortress is complete. So here we are. I've noticed now that Iron Range is currently neutral. Neither Daz nor Ulm has it, so I'm going to make a play for it. Now notice I'm not claiming the throne. I don't want to look like I am a power, because in reality I'm not. So I'm not claiming the throne to not give him any ideas. I am, however, scoping out this throne, because it is neutral at this point, so I'm still harboring ideas that I could grab it. Basically, my intention is to go to Mountains of Madness, Solam, and then Scythia. I also can see now that I'm in the Oak that Ermor has a huge force, and Vanheim, you can't see his forces because they're invisible. So I'm really not sure what he has, but I'm doing exactly what I told him I'm going to do. I'm not putting any province defense, and I'm moving west into Mountains of Madness against Ermor. At this point, I send Ermor a declaration of war. And it was very difficult for me, honestly, because Sabouts had been cool to me this entire game. I mean, we'd been chatting, we had been friends, we were certainly not enemies. And I basically just had to tell him, I said, look, man, I'm sorry, but you're being reduced to next to nothing, and if I don't take these provinces, someone else might. And that weakens my position. I just basically said, I think you're a cool guy. I wish you the best. I hope that you had picked a nation that was more compatible with mine, so that maybe we could have worked together in some form of alliance. But because your nation literally kills people just by existing, I have to get in on this. So I just let him know. And as you can see, his domain, his death domain, is having a little bit of an effect. Not so much in Oak at this point, but you'll see as the turns go on that it has a more and more effect, even when he is further reduced. That's why people always want to go after Ermor right away, because even if they're down to their capital, just by existing, they're still killing populations in the surrounding areas. It doesn't hurt Agartha necessarily as much as it hurts other nations, because my Pale One troops do not need to eat. So, but it does hurt from an income perspective, because why would you want to conquer and defend a province that isn't worth anything to you? Regardless, in Winter Peaks... No, where was it? There we go. Here we go. Cavern of Glowing Moss gives us 1 fire gem, and the Gorge gives us 1 earth gem. So that's perfect. Those are the 2 kinds of gems we need the most. The earth gems, of course, for the Sentinels, and the fire gems for the potential magma children that we were hoping to get. Now, here we're getting 2 more Sentinels. We're recruiting a new Oracle of the Ancients. I know they take a long time to recruit, but they're my only reliable leader of sacred troops. They're the only ones I can count on to make sure everyone is blessed and ready to go. So that's why I get them. Shard Guard and Defenders. Now that we have Bithynia up, we're recruiting typical Agarthans. And I'm doing this because at this moment, I still think I might have a chance to get into the ocean. Although it looks like Vanheim took Cerulean Sea, so there would be no way into the ocean from this side of the map without fighting Vanheim. So at this point, my only way of getting into the ocean without declaring war on a foreign power is through Black Gorge, which is guarded by Krakens and Tritons and Sea Trolls. So it's pretty tough. Plus, I don't have any troops anywhere near there. But I am building the castle here specifically for that purpose, so that I can plan an attack here. And that's about that. Alright, so now turn 18, was it? Styx, the Carrion Lord, has claimed the Iron Throne. Lothar and Childrek are still enlivening sentinels. John Muir found nothing. Iron Range. So this is attack against the neutrals. Birdiebot's army, of course. Basic human force. We crush it. And lose nothing in doing so. Mountains of Madness. This is our first battle against Ermor. This is our Very similar force. The only difference now is it's led by an Oracle of the Ancients, and we have some Stone Hurlers, but they don't have very much range, I guess, so they kind of suck in the sense that they, instead of standing there and just shooting at things, they rush forward. Looks like Lighthawk decided to cast Strength of Giants, too, because he can't actually reach Ermor's guys. Essentially, Ermor dies. We didn't lose anything. Alright, but we get to see a battle of Asphodel, and unfortunately they're attacking Scythia, the province with the throne that I wanted. But we get an idea of their armies here in the south, and it's basically the same stuff that we're used to. We've got a carrion beast, we've got a bunch of carrion mannequins and undead thingy-mahachis. We do have some black centaurs, which are sacred, and they're being led by the Centaurid Hierophantide, which I guess just means a lady centaur. Alright. And he's fighting the neutrals. By this point, I think someone's already attacked this province because its defenders are severely debilitated. They are led by what looks like a sorceress, Lydia. Not for much longer, though. Yeah, she goes down. And that's that. Now, here we get to see Vanheim, which is very interesting. Vanheim in Perenna. Now, this is an interesting place because this is a kind of a messy territory right now. We have Shinuyama, we have Ermor, we have Asphodel, and we have Vanheim. And it's good territory. It's farmland, so. But it looks like he's using a bless strategy with Vans, which already come native with Glamour. But his bless gives them defense +7, so that's a water bless, and reinvigoration. So we have a heavy water bless and a light earth bless, which is interesting. I would have expected more. Usually people will play Vanheim with really heavy blesses. Looks like he took a relatively light bless. But it's enough to crush these guys without any losses. Alright, Golem range. Barbarian Horde attacked. We lost some population, White Peaks. We found a magic site, an ore deposit, which is great, an iron range. A local slave lord is seeking absolution. He donated all his virgins and a chest of gold. So now we have some blood slaves that we're never ever going to use. And these are the barbarians that are attacking Golem range. I'm pretty sure they're going to win. Yep, it looks that way. Oh, no. We survived. We defeated them. Look at that. Oh, wait. So, just barely, we managed to hold on to Golem range. We're now in Mountain of Madness. You could see that his negative population modifier is having a bit more of an effect. Then we're going to move into Solam. Unfortunately, our goals for getting Scythia are now crushed because I don't want to declare war against Asphodel at this time. You can see Vanheim is safely up here. I'm not sure if Shinuyama is still here. I really want Small Sea. And it kind of pisses me off, honestly, because you can get there from here, through this river, but you can't get there from here, through this river. Which makes me really mad. Because my Agarthans, these are all amphibious in this army. They could easily have taken Small Sea. But whatever. Alright, and we discovered in White Peaks the Iron Mine. We took Iron Range. So now we have some choices. Farron Mountains is currently independent, but it's next to one of Daz's forts. So I basically write a letter to Daz, and I'm like, look, I'm just going to let you have Farron Mountains. I could take it, but it's next to your fort. I know you probably want to draw production from there at some point. But the way I think about it in my mind is, if you aren't capable of even clearing out the area around your own forts, I mean, you shouldn't necessarily hold claim to it, which is why I moved into Might Marsh here, which is right next to Ulm. It's in what people call his cap circle, but I figure if you can't hold on to it, and it's been sitting idle for a long time, I might as well go for it. Now see, I was, unfortunately at this point, lied to about Ulm's situation. All I was hearing, I wasn't necessarily communicating directly with Ulm, but all I was hearing from Daz and Tortuga, Shinuyama and Man, is that they were unwilling to ally with me because they were too busy protecting Ulm from Asphodel. Well, it turns out, I don't know if they were lying, or they weren't lying, but they were just not being 100% truthful. They were, of course, protecting Ulm from Asphodel, but by doing so, they were allowing Ulm to simply grow and build troops without any check on his power. Because at the beginning of the game, I guess Asphodel was a threat, was actually winning against Ulm. But then Daz and Shiniyama came down here, started putting a bunch of pressure on Asphodel, as did Vanheim. And so Asphodel had to defend himself, obviously, leaving Ulm completely free to do whatever Ulm wants. So why he left Might Marsh completely undefended, I have no idea. But you'll see eventually, once I take Might Marsh, he becomes substantially aggressive against me, and there's nothing that I could do about it besides fight back. There's nothing clever I could do, because he's protected on this side from Vanheim, he's protected on this side from Daz, and he's protected down here from Shiniyama. So Ulm, essentially, while they are being peaceful with me, and they are not harming me, and they're maintaining peace treaties with me, by them basically hemming Ulm in, protecting him, but also not allowing him to expand in any other directions, they are essentially forcing him to attack me, which is the only direction he can go. So that is something that will develop in the coming turns. In Agartha, Jake Kiamo's out, and he is enlivening Sentinels, along with Lothar and Childeric. I'm recruiting Shardguard, a Defender of the Halls, and another Earth Reader. In Bethany, I'm not recruiting anything because I'm out of gold. But we are moving on Salam, which will give us a whole nother little area here. And it will basically, at this point, Ermor is down to their capital. Once I take Salam, Vanheim has taken Ivermark, so all that exists is Ermor itself. And that's essentially that. With regards to research, I'm going full bore Conjuration, trying to get Ruax back, which it'll take me about 3 turns to get to. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's all for this episode. I believe this is turn, 18? So, in the next episode, we will have turned 19 and onward. So once again, I am Marcus Aurelius. This is Dominions 4, a 7-player multiplayer free-for-all where I am playing Agartha. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.